Cliff diving. The perfect combination of body and mind. 27 meters. 3 seconds of free fall. Only the bravest and best can handle it. After the season kickoff in Cuba, the world's best cliff divers traveled to Texas for the very first time. Following the US leg, the World Series will return to Europe. Ireland, Norway, the Azores, and Spain are on the calendar. The big final will be hosted in Brazil in October. USA, Texas, Dallas. As soon as you leave the city, the country shows its rough and lonesome beauty. Cattle, ranches, and the oil industry dominate the landscape. The beautiful Possum Kingdom Lake is the perfect natural setting for the second stop. Hell's Gate is on the calendar for the first time, a new challenge for everybody. Howdy y'all, and welcome to Texas. The best cliff divers on the planet are ready. A bunch of young talent. The collective of experienced champions, and the kickoff winner from Cuba, Blake Aldridge. What a great start into the season we've seen in Havana, Cuba. It should become a red-hot start into the World Series' 6th year. On the main event day, the divers are given a parade in true Cuban style, in a convoy of classic cars. A huge crowd of spectators follows the first competition at Morro Castle. And Gary Hunt performs a brand new dive. 3 somersaults and 3.5 twists, never done before.
For me, competition in Cuba was a really exciting moment. It was the first time I've learned a new dive for 3 years, and it went really well. I was really happy to be on the podium.
After a slow start, only 12th place in the seeding round, fellow Englishman and former Olympian Blake Aldridge could win his first ever World Series event with his hardest dive.
Cuba was unbelievable. To struggle after the first round and then come back and win the head-to-head and then go into the final and then land a big handstand, which I've never done in a Redbull event. You know, it was everything that I could have asked for my first win. It's good to take the confidence forward, but still need to keep my feet on the ground.
Blake Aldridge leads the overall standings after the first of 7 World Series comps. Jonathan Paredes is second, Gary Hunt on 3. Former World Series champion Orlando Duque and reigning champion Artem Silchenko have to make up ground. Actually, they would have wished for a better start into the new season. There's still a long way to go. In Texas, there's also a second platform at 20 meters. It's the premiere of the Women's World Series. After the exhibition competition last year in Italy, the best female cliff divers got their own series with 3 competitions. Welcome, ladies.
It's the first stop in the series this year, and I'm very excited to go over there. I think everything is open, and everybody tries to fight really hard.
It's the preparation for the first ever competition in the Women's World Series in 2014. It's the same for them as it is for the men. Training from these heights is hardly possible, and the ladies impress the experienced men with their performances.
I think they are really brave, and I see so many new faces, and this is something that this sport it's needed, because so many nationalities. And this is really when they push forward the sports, and as all cliff diving, like general.
It's amazing. I mean, a couple years ago I would have never thought that I would be doing cliff diving, and to be part of the World Series, what could be better?
The world's best female cliff divers are ready to make history. Hell's Gate is an extraordinary challenge for both men and women.
There are three factors that are affecting our divers' performances. The first one is that we have a bunch of sea life in the water, from turtles to snakes and big carps, and we have to constantly watch out that they're not under the platform. If the divers would land on any of those, it would not be good. The second factor is that the wind is really, really strong. It's going to affect the guys a little bit more because they're going to be around 28 meters high this time, and the girls a little bit less because they have a little bit more of a shape, but it's still very, very windy, which is going to be, you know, as they're balancing at the edge of the platform, really tough to be, you know, getting perfect takeoff. And the third factor is that it is really, really hot here. We have about 40 degrees today. And they have a very long walk up to the platform. As they go up there, you know, and the day wears on, and they have the warm-ups and everything else, they're getting really tired. And, you know, for doing those hard dives from that height, you have to be mentally and physically completely alert. It's a perfect day here, and we have thousands of people that have been here for hours waiting for the competition to start, and we're all very excited to get going.
The divers are aware of the challenges at Hell's Gate, and they are ready. It all begins with the seeding round and a fixed degree of difficulty of 3.8. Now it's all about launching yourself into the best position possible for the head-to-head rounds. 5 international judges, headed by Claudio De Miro, award scores from 0 to 10. The lowest and the highest are discarded. The remaining 3 are added and multiplied by the degree of difficulty. Also in action in Texas, diving legend Greg Louganis.
You know, Possum Kingdom Lake is incredible. I mean, it's beautiful. It's out in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of Texas, but, you know, it's really incredible. It's going to be a lot of fun.
This time we have a daunting 28 meters, 3 seconds of free fall, 85 kilometers per hour, which show the term easy dives in a completely different light. U.S. divers diving on home soil. Always special, even when things don't work perfectly.
Super exciting to always do that first dive, especially in front of the home crowd. Got my mom and dad here, my aunt and uncle, and some friends, so pretty awesome, actually. It's one of those things where the dive wasn't as great as I wanted, but knowing that everyone's here supporting me, it's awesome all the same.
All World Series champions show good dives. Silchenko, Hunt, and Duque are between 5 and a 3. The winner from Cuba, however, starts slowly, but he has a plan. Again, he wants to attack from the rear.
Hopefully I can do a better first dive tomorrow and do what I've done in Cuba and come back fighting, but yeah, there's a long way to go yet.
The best performance in the seeding round comes from an American, highly appreciated by the crowd on the water here in Texas.
I think that's my first 10 ever in a Red Bull competition, so, you know, I've been struggling with those entries. I've always felt like they're coming, and it finally gives me that confidence to keep pushing, and I know it's here, so it feels great.
The first day comes to an end, and the head-to-head pairings are determined. Kulturi goes against Blake Aldridge, Navratil against the wild card Matt Cohen, and then we have Orlando Duque versus Stephen LeBoux. That'll be interesting. Gary Hunt against Ken DeMond, and the reigning champ versus another American. Shabotenko and Paredes, the last pair. The happy leader comes from the U.S., David Kulturi. Let's follow him on an unforgettable journey. David Kulturi is a cliff diver with heart and soul. The world needs to get to know more about his fascinating sport.
We're here in Norway at the beautiful Garanjefjord, and we're shooting a promotional piece for our stop in Kragerø coming up in July.
And we'll take a look over his shoulder.
The fjord is just absolutely beautiful. It's just amazing. It's beautiful around every corner. We have waterfalls coming down everywhere. sloping hills and just gorgeous mountains.
Diving spots as far as the eye can see. But as always, it's business before pleasure. Also for David and his diving companion from the Women's World Series, Jacqueline Valente. It's time for some climbing practice.
We've got a little bit more of a difficult climb tomorrow as we get closer to the waterfall. The rocks are going to be a little bit slippier and a little bit steeper. So Jackie and I are here kind of just getting some harness practice.
Preparations are done. Now it's time to get to the diving spot. First, a ride on a boat. Then the tricky climb. That's not everyday business and pretty exhausting. Then a quick view around and action.
We're both on top of the world right now. This is, it's a feeling like nothing else, and it's something that only a few cliff divers can really attest to. Being in these conditions and this such epic scenery is absolutely amazing. This is going to be hard to beat.
Cliff diving ambassador David Colturi has his own visions for the future. He wants to celebrate his own success and push the sport forward.
It's an interesting point in my career right now. I mean, I'm coming into my 3rd season on the Cliff Diving World Series. I can't so much call myself a rookie anymore, but I definitely can't call myself an expert either. I just keep pushing myself and motivates me to keep doing what I love and to push the sport into boundaries that it hasn't been before.
A perfect summer day greets us for the main event. More than 6,700 people come to watch diving perfection over the weekend. It's party time in Texas, and also the divers enjoy their presentation a lot. Everybody is ready for round number 1. It's time to dive. A special challenge awaits Orlando Duque. He's up against local hero Stephen LeBoux.
For me, man, that's a challenge I relish big time. You know, he's a great diver. We have the same DD, so, you know, if I can beat him, that means I really outdove him, and that's something that I look forward to.
Duque is only 17 points ahead before this round. But as an experienced diver, he gets a great start into this day and hands back the pressure to LeBoux above.
You cannot underestimate any of these guys. They're here at the World Series because they're the best. Anyone can win any day.
LeBoux takes the challenge and answers with an even better performance. He cuts back on the gap. One more head-to-head round to go. Everything's open again. But one of them is better than the rest. Gary Hunt takes a huge step forward with this dive. 110.2 points and 2 10s from the judges.
Felt like I was spinning a little bit fast, but as a result I could see the water from high up and had enough time to judge the entry and got it down. Good start.
Definitely a good start. Hunt ahead of Jonathan Paredes, both clearly leading their pairs. Then Duque and Jones, rather close to their competitors. That'll be an interesting second round of head-to-heads. But before, let's have a closer look at the latest developments of the sport. Texas marks the start of the Women in the World Series.
It's a great chance for the girls having a full series this year. 3 competitions is a great chance for them to get their nerves over with and learn new dives. So I think we'll see great things from these girls this year.
There's going to be a boom. There are going to be more people diving, more women. It will be like a wave coming up. I'm curious to see how that works. And I hope I can be part of it as long as possible.
Oh, I love it. The higher, the better. I've always loved diving, and when I got into high diving, it was just something I really wanted to do, and now I'm finally getting the chance.
The main reason we have a difference in height, the 20 metres and 27, is not because the women can have any less ability. In fact, they have the same abilities as the men. It's just a physical restriction. I mean, they just can't quite handle the impact from that high, of course. You know, it's around about 85 kilometres per hour from 27 metres, and it's about, well, still a respectable 70 kilometres per hour from 20 metres, and that's the main difference.
I think the biggest difference is the guys are doing much harder tricks. Part of that reason is because they have a lot more room to do more twisting and flipping, but also they have had more experience up there. Probably another difference is you'll see a little bit more finesse out of the women than some of the men.
When I watch the girls, I'm really dialing in on their lines because, you know, their toes are usually immaculate and the dives are simple and beautiful, and that's something I strive for still.
Really looking at the way the girls dive is so graceful and beautiful.
We need a little bit of time and to get used to competitions or participations, or I think things will happen with time.
More than all, it's freedom, and it's also a possibility for me to reinvent myself and to always push the limits.
I'm just so excited to be here.
That's just what I love. It's just what makes me me.
Hell's Gate is ready for the first stop and the first ever Red Bull Cliff Diving Women's World Series, which is comprised of 3 breathtaking stops. Texas is only the beginning. The locals arrived in droves to form a huge crowd of boats, and the atmosphere, in all honesty, was electric, as the spectators roared for the incredible athletes perched high above the lake. Jacqueline Valente opens the final round with this handstand. The Brazilian finishes 7th.
It was incredible feeling. Handstand, it was pretty okay. It was a bit windy, more adrenaline, more emotion, but I'm pretty happy with my dive and looking towards to see the girls.
The senior athlete in the field is next, Ginger Huber. The American has been in the business for a long time and is all too happy for the beginning of a new era.
It was good. It was great being here in Texas. It's great having Red Bull and the crowd and the great environment. Did I say great enough? It was great.
Rank 4 goes to Adriana Jimenez. The Mexican is one of the wild cards in the field. Tara Heyer-Tira was also invited as a wild card for the first stop in the U.S. Tara finished 5th. Germany's Anna Bader dives to 2nd place with this attempt. A high degree of difficulty and a great landing are the key to success. Congratulations to these ladies.
It's a new dive that I just learned yesterday because I wanted to, you know, they inspired me and I said, I want to still be there and try something new. I'm super happy no matter what happens. For me, that was a great competition.
Meet Rochelle Simpson. At 26, she's the youngest competitor in the field, and as a Texan, she clearly has the home advantage. Simpson shows the hardest dive of the whole competition. Her degree of difficulty is 4.0, and she takes the lead.
It was good. I went over in practice, so I was trying to keep it a little safe. I did a little too short, but I'm happy. And I wanted to do this dive, this competition, and I did it, so I'm really excited.
Cecily Carlton, the FINA World Champion, cannot handle the pressure and falls back to 3rd position after this performance.
I was pretty happy with the dives. The last dive, a little bit quick on the bottom. Not too happy. I think it was the worst one I did the entire time I was here, but it's good competition.
A thrilling competition and a tight finish. We can look forward to the 2nd stop of the women in Norway mid-July. Returning to the men's competition, the first challenge is already the treacherous journey to the top as they weave their way through the field of rocks and cactus. Arriving at the top of the cliff, the stage is set for the second round of head-to-heads and the first optional dives. 19 points difference between Mikhail Navratil and wildcard Matt Cohen. And that means a slight advantage for the Czech. But the Englishman will premiere a really hard dive today. A quint half with a degree of difficulty of 6.1. That was a really good attempt. It's only his second try. Kudos to the young man. That's a big one for the future.
Awesome, yeah. It feels so comfortable. I did one in training yesterday. That one was a little bit worse. I felt it a little bit short, but I'm so happy that I've done the dive and I've done it safely, and I know that's in the bank for the future.
Mikhail Navratil has to perform really well now if he wants to win his pair. He'll perform his new back arm stand dive with a rather high degree of difficulty of 5.7. Matt Cohen has done his part. All he can do now is watch and wait. This was his ticket for the final round. He clearly outperforms Matt Cohen and takes the lead for now.
Well, Mikhail Navratil hasn't done this dive very many times either, and he's always got a really strong handstand, pushing with his arms to get some height and also some rotation from the platform, but I could see he was just a bit too slow. Also, it's called a bit of a wonky twist, so he needs to make sure he tightens that body. And at the end, he realized he didn't have a lot of room, but he worked it really well. Remarkable job. Stayed in that pike position, held on to the last minute, pulled his chest up and got that great rip entry. That was a really good job to kind of manage a dive that was a bit slow.
The next head-to-head looks like a done deal for Gary Hunt. He's more than 40 points ahead of Kent DeMond. And the 30-year-old Englishman will now use his no longer secret weapon, the triple quad. He's done it for really good scores a lot of times already. Will it work well once again? Kent DeMond didn't perform too well in his first optional. His comp might end here. A bit of splash on entry, but nothing else to complain about. Way to go, Gary Hunt.
Gary Hunt is looking really good, poised on the platform, confident, cool, calm and collected. And the jump was not quite as powerful as he normally does, but nonetheless the technique and the twist is smooth, it looks effortless, and then when he gets to the pike, there's no problems. A near perfect vertical entry, just a low splash there, and that's the only real deduction. So Gary is looking really, really good right now.
I'm quite happy with that. I think I did a slightly better one in training. And again, I just needed to control the end a little bit. I think I slightly over-rotated, but it was better scores than in Cuba. And I'm in the final, got one more dive left. I'm gonna play it safe with 3.5 twist and triple.
And we continue with Colturi versus Aldridge, a 22.80 points gap between the two one-time winners. Blake Aldridge is in his final preparations and far away from the actual happenings on the lake. Probably his mind is on the golf course. Playing golf for him is more than just sports. It's passion and the perfect distraction at the same time.
Golf is definitely a good pastime for me. I find it really relaxing with the stresses of cliff diving. It's really nice to get out on a golf course and just be free out in Mother Nature, you know, and just relax and hit a ball.
In 2012, the Londoner took on his first World Series with high expectations. But all too often, the 31-year-old gets in his own way.
I'm a perfectionist, and it's not an easy life to be a perfectionist because nothing's ever good enough. I'm probably my own worst enemy, to be honest, certainly in my own head. I do expect a lot of myself, and sometimes I try too hard because I expect so much.
The Englishman is a former 10-meter board Olympian, and right from the start into his second career as a cliff diver, he's a candidate for the top podium. At the 2014 season kickoff, he can finally meet his high expectations.
You know, it was great to hear that Blake Aldrich won in Cuba. Him being an Olympian, myself being an Olympian, you know, in the sport of diving. You know, it just goes to show that how far the Redbull Cliff Diving World Series has come to bring so many talented divers.
Blake Aldrich has achieved a lot. He's an Olympian, World Series competition winner, and maybe Olympian again one day. In that case, as a cliff diver.
To be able to compete in another Olympic Games in a totally different sport would be unbelievable. I respect many athletes that have transitioned from one sport to the other and won Olympic gold medals in two different sports. You know, that for me is amazing. So, yeah, that would be the pinnacle of everything for me, really, in my career.
Back on the 28-meter platform, he will now perform his hardest dive, a back arm stand with 2.5 somersaults and 4 twists. Degree of difficulty, 6.2. Competitor Golturi still has some minutes to get ready. Can Blake Aldrich put the American under pressure? Oh no, that was a really big splash. Doesn't look too good for Aldrich. He won't win his pair and advance to the final round.
I didn't feel like I was going to come out to 5.5. It didn't feel that bad. It did feel a little short, but it didn't feel like I got much of a hit on my chest, just on my the honus a little bit. It felt all right to me, but obviously not good enough.
Now it's time for some American action. His chance to make it to the final of the top 7 is now. He has all the support from the spectators on the water. Can he handle the pressure they're putting on him? Powerful takeoff, but a big splash at the same time. He's made the finals, but we've seen him do this dive much better before.
I'm in the final now, which is awesome, but I'm shooting for those top 3 on the podium. That's what I'm really, really looking for. So it was a pretty good third round dive. It was 7.5. That's what I'd like to call a good miss, you know. Not horrible, but not great. Still missing that entry just a little bit. I'm still working it down, but it's gonna come. I'm feeling good for this last round.
Great sportsmen and great competitors. Now it's getting interesting. Only 9.5 points difference between these two, and both will show dives with a degree of difficulty of 5.6. Duque versus Lebeau. The American goes first. He's supported by his own crew, Lebeau crew. A deep breath for the high diving legend. Back triple-triple, a well-known dive these days, and still everybody is keen to watch it from below.
Yes!
Yes, that was a good dive. This applause is definitely well earned.
Stephen Lebeau, I would have to say, has the most powerful and the greatest elevation from the platform. I mean, look at it, it's so dynamic. The fault there is he's lifting his head too early, and that just means that he gets to the twist a bit too early as well, so that means it goes slightly to the side of the platform. However, he finishes the twist, gets him to the pike momentarily, and he's moving so fast here. He's got so much time to open up and have a good look at it, and you can kind of see he's hesitating a little bit towards the end of the dive, and then landed slightly short of vertical, but a really good rip entry. So, I mean, this guy is just so fast, he could almost add another somersault to this dive.
Orlando Duque on the platform. He's the all-time hero of the sport. Consistent for years, always on top, and a mental giant. The people love him. Lebeau can only wait and see. His job is done for now. But what was that? Something seems to be wrong here. Paredes seems bothered. A discussion is going on the judges' boat as well. Let's have a look at the dive once again. And now we see that the Colombian is one twist short. He failed this dive. Unbelievable.
I didn't feel it, to be honest. I felt like I had a lot of time in the air, but I guess I did one twist less. Maybe just, lose concentration and at the wrong moment, At least everything went fine with the dive. I'm safe. Losing your orientation and concentration like that in the air can be very dangerous. At least I'm down here on the ground and I'm still walking. So, the rules are the rules. You can't break it. So that's the way it is.
Yeah, it's a little strange actually. I'm a competitor. I want to come here and battle, and I always relish a challenge to go against Orlando. Obviously, that's not the way I wanted it to happen. I wanted, for him to finish his dive well and have a good round, and then see where the chips fall. But these things happen really as sort of a lapse in judgment. So now I just got to focus up on taking this last dive down.
Yeah, I think you put too much pressure on yourself, and at the end it just catches up to you. It doesn't have to do with experience or anything. It's just like at the right moment, all the conditions come against you, and you just felt your dive.
A shocking moment, but Duque's a fair sportsman. Lebeau advances to the final without a big smile on his face. And the competition continues with another close pair, Jones versus Sulchenko. The rookie against the World Series champion. Andy Jones shows the third triple-triple of the round. He's in his first year, and he's a slight lead over his competitor. Lebeau has just shown the exact same dive. Can Jones show the better execution? Well, not much better, but definitely a good attempt.
Andy Jones there with a back triple somersault with 3 twists. As he took off, I noticed that he was just slightly too slow. The head's lifting there. It's really important that you keep the head nice and level. So twisting, and then he comes out of the twist way too early. Look where he comes out. He's almost sort of facing towards the cliff face there. He needs to hold on a little bit longer and then come out of that twist. And then at the end of the dive, you realize there's almost no room. So he had to work insanely hard to finish the dive off, but he did a great job and almost a rip entry there.
It's time for the Man of the Year 2013, Artem Sulchenko. The Russian always aims high, and he'll now do his daunting back arm stand with a blind entry. Will the American make the final round in his second comp? The way Sulchenko gets into position is already impressive. Will he make it down in style? Definitely. After his struggles in Cuba, he's back on track. Andy Jones is now in the lucky loser spot. Well done, Mr. Silchenko.
Well, when we watch this dive from Artem, the back arm stand blind entry, I guess all of our hearts are, racing and elevated. It really is just such a risky dive. Stable handstand. Thank God the wind wasn't too strong here today. As he pushed off, I noticed that the speed was just right. The only fault there in the twist, just a little bit loose. You can see the legs coming apart there. He spots the landing there just before he's about to go into that last somersault and adjust perfectly, like a rip entry slightly over. But I mean, he was super happy, big old fist pump as he came out of the water. So yeah, I'm really happy for Artem Silchenko.
He deserves this applause big time. And here we have today's biggest favorites. Today's last head-to-head pair is the fight between two young guns, 24 and 25 years old from Mexico and the Ukraine. Jonathan Paredes has 19 points more to his side, and he does the least difficult dive in this round, only 4.9. But we know how perfectly he executes them. Will he prove us right now? Wow, that was just awesome! A 10 from the judges for this attempt, and third position.
Jonathan Paredes is proving that he is unbelievably consistent. The takeoff was slightly slowed, but once again, he just knows where he is in the air, knows what he needs to do, so he holds onto the pike a bit longer and then hit the water. I mean, that was the best entry we've seen the whole competition, slightly short of vertical, and that's the only fault. Jonathan Paredes, you are an amazing artist in terms of the rip entry.
Really happy to get that scores from the judges. So I just want to do my best in the last one and finish this competition.
The winner of the pair is decided. Here we have the standings after 3 rounds of diving. Gary Hunt is back on top, 20 points ahead of Silchenko. Then the graceful Mexican Jonathan Paredes. Navratil, Lebu, and Kulturi won their pairs as well. Andy Jones advances as the lucky loser.
Well, the third round has just finished, and we'd like to take this chance to compare 2 dives and talk about degree of difficulty. So we'll talk about Blake Aldridge first. He's doing a back arm stand with 2.5 somersaults with 4 twists, and he has a degree of difficulty of 6.2. Then if we look at Artem Silchenko's dive, which is a back arm stand with 2.5 somersaults with 2.5 twists, and his degree is 6.2. And you may be thinking, well, he's doing 1.5 twists less, and you're thinking, well, why has he got the same degree of difficulty? He actually should have less, but here's the answer. But we'll start with Blake first of all. When he's doing his dive, he's in his handstand, of course, pushes off the platform, he does 1.5 twists here, 2.5, then he comes out at 3.5 twists, looks at the water, and does a Barani. So that's the last somersault with a half twist there, ends up with a degree of difficulty of 6.2. Then if we look at Artem Silchenko in a handstand as well, pushing from the platform, 1.5 twists, 2.5 twists, he comes out there, he looks at the water, but he doesn't do a Barani here. He does what's called a blind entry, so it's like a front somersault, but the reason he gets more degree of difficulty is because it's blind. He can't see where he's going, makes it incredibly difficult to adjust for the landing and also dangerous. If he pushes his legs down too hard and too fast, it will make him over-rotate, land on his stomach, and it's almost like being punched in the stomach by a heavyweight boxer. I mean, that's no exaggeration. It really is a very, very, very strong impact. Well, the final round is about to begin, and believe me, we've got some hot diving action coming your way.
And he means it literally. It's a hot day in Texas, and especially at Hell's Gate. The divers have presented themselves in really good form so far, and the final round is expected to become even more thrilling. American David Kulturi opens this finale. His dive, reverse 2 somersaults with 4 twists, the same dive that Orlando Duque failed. Can he do better? Yes, he can. First dive of the round and the first rip entry. With 8.5s and 9s, he has set a mark for the others.
Couldn't have done it much better than that, so that's the way I wanted to close it out for sure. Heck of a freaking competition here, man. I mean, we got everything. We got the weather, we got the people, we got the SOT. It's amazing. I'm on top of the moon.
Kulturi soaks in the applause. And Andy Jones focuses on his first final round of the year. Stephen LeBeau is the third American in the last round. All eyes are on him when he gets ready for the quint half. A home event always puts a lot of pressure on the athlete. Will he show nerves now? Another one! These guys are ripping their entries one after another. No splash. That's worth a 10. And here it is, a 10 for Stephen LeBeau. Great performance.
Steve LeBeau, wow. I mean, the crowd just erupted when he hit the water. Absolutely crushed it. Perfect rip entry there. I mean, remarkable diving from Steve LeBeau. I think he's really starting to understand this dive and how to control it. Amazing.
I've been waiting to put that dive down at a crucial time like this. Did not have a good start yesterday, so I knew I had to come in today with, you know, a little bit of attitude and put it down. So, you know, I put down a heck of a list, but these guys are still quite a few points ahead, so we'll see where the chips fall, man. I'm happy either way.
Andy Jones on the edge. The crowd wants to see a good dive. The former Cirque du Soleil performer has his chance now. Time to dive for the tall man. Navratil is next, always up and moving. But let's watch Andy Jones in his fourth round. He enters the water without a splash. Man, what a final. 8.5s and 9s as well. Now we know why he's in the series this year.
Andy Jones is really finding his feet now. He's much more consistent. He found the right speed on takeoff. The only thing I think is a little bit strange when he comes out of the pike, he comes into the twist and lifts his head. It's better to actually keep your head neutral, and that'll keep the twist a little bit more fast and dynamic there. But then when he came out of the twist, looked at the water, pulled his chest up, and once again just ripped the entry. I mean, this is a hot final round we have right now.
What a day. I just did 3 really great dives for me, and this final is getting ridiculous. Personal best score for me, and I feel terrific.
Ridiculous is right. The next man on the platform now gets his chance to outperform what we've seen so far. Mikhail Navratil loves it when the crowd gets so loud, so he has the right conditions for a great performance. How will it work for him today? It's only moments until Paredes gets to go on the platform. Unbelievable! The spectators might be right with their 10s. That was a really great dive. And here we go, another 10 from the judges. A happy man in the water. Well done.
What a round this has been. I mean, Mikhail Navratil just got up there and did everything right. I mean, the only thing I could possibly fault was slightly bent in the twist, but once again, I mean, this is just like a rip fest. I mean, just disappearing into Possum Kingdom Lake with no splash.
The final round is really amazing. I was the fourth one, and everyone in front of me and in front of everybody who was there just nailed the dives. It was unbelievable, and I was just focusing for the dive and really try to do all the details in the dive, and I'm so happy that I saw the 110, and this was an amazing feeling in the water, and unforgettable.
The rising star from Mexico. He finished second in Cuba, a personal best for the 24-year-old. Will he continue with the Rip Fest? Russian Power comes next. This man knows what he wants at any time. Paredes stands on the edge, 28 meters above the water. Will he nail this one to stay in the run for the podium? Good attempt! But he was not completely vertical and produced a bit more splash than everybody else before. 8s from the judges, no podium for Jonathan Paredes this time.
Well, Jonathan Paredes, I don't think he got to practice this dive because it was so windy, he chose not to do it. So he was doing this dive cold in the competition. The first thing you notice, he's leaning back on the platform and pushing away. So he has a little bit too much distance from the platform, and that's a deduction from the judges. And then you see it on the end as well. You can just see that he's just rolling over. When you're a bit closer to the platform, it's easier to find that vertical line. But you know, this guy just needs to improve a bit more in his degree of difficulty, and then he can be in the fight for the top 3 a little bit more often.
I'm really happy. It's still a really nice score, even with my easy dives. But really happy for all the divers because it was a really nice competition. The 3rd round and the 4th round, simply amazing, you know? Nothing to do with my DD. So I have to fight for new dives, getting better in my DD, and still fighting.
2 men left on top. Artem Sulchenko is mentally one of the strongest athletes in the whole field, and his diving is graceful to the max. The atmosphere is electric. He wants that top spot back. But can he beat Gary Hunt, the leader after 3 rounds today? Still in the lead, Stephen Lebeau. Where did he go? The Russian vanished. Can this round get any better? The judges are going to have to show that 10 one more time. Yeah, here it is. Artem Sulchenko, you are one classy diver.
I think I'm lost for words. Artem Sulchenko, once again, another incredible rip entry. The only thing that I would like to see him improve on is just he needs to get his arms up faster. So when he's jumping off the platform, the arms reach right up to the ears, and just a little bit of a crossed feet and slightly bent legs there, but the rest of it was just managed so well. Look, he sees the water, he knows what to do, he's vertical, he has a rip entry. This is Possum Kingdom Lake, this is cliff diving.
Today we have a crazy day, and last round it's absolutely crazy. I have first time in my life for my back twist 110. It's crazy for me. It's for me good result, and every diver do absolutely incredible entries. And when I come on the platform, I think, okay, I don't want to be like white bird in this great company.
Last man standing is the outstanding Gary Hunt. He's 20 points ahead of the rest after the head-to-head rounds, and he has another big dive coming. Front 3 somersaults, 3.5 twists pike, degree of difficulty of 5.8. That's a massive program. He was 3rd in Havana. Can he secure his first season win here in Texas? Eyes are on him, as well as the pressure. Incredible action in the air, and straight as an arrow into the water. Gary Hunt deserves a big round of applause. That was the winning dive for sure. And a new competition high score, 526.4 points.
The last man standing on the platform is Gary Hunt with his brand new dive. The front 3 somersaults with 3.5 twists. His heart must be racing. And then when we look at the takeoff, perfect. He's getting much more elevation. The 2 twists, and then he stops it. In the middle, he does 1 twist, and then he does the Barani, and then he rips the entry, and guess what? He wins the competition. That was the most amazing final round I've seen in cliff diving thus far. Incredible. I'm so proud of all the divers.
when you hear other people doing good dives, it really pumps you up, and you don't want to break that streak. And me neither, I didn't want to break that streak. I'm a little bit speechless. After watching that final, it was so enjoyable. Like, so much fun when everyone's on fire like that. And I mean, it's great to have finished the competition like that.
The deserving winner, Gary Hunt, masters his new dive and makes a statement. Artem Silchenko's back armstand blind entry has enough degree of difficulty to slide him into second place, and third place goes to All-American diving powerhouse Steve LeBoux. That was definitely a one-of-a-kind finale. The winners of the second competition in the 2014 World Series. England, Russia, and America. None of them will forget the beauty of Possum Kingdom Lake. What does that mean for the overall standings? Gary Hunt takes the lead. Then we have 2 ties for second and fourth. Orlando Duque falls back into 7th position, tied with rookie Andy Jones. Now it's time for the athletes to relax. The next stop takes them back to Europe. We set our sights on the 3rd stop in Ireland.